Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see how many have joined us here today, and welcome to this We Rail webinar hosted today by BG. The speaker today is Ronnie Nielsen, Commercial Director at BG Seating Division. Ronnie, after graduation, for some years working in various roles with road construction machineries, as well as with the vehicle and machinery electrical systems at Bosch. From 1990, Ronnie was holding the position of product manager at a Swedish company working with injection molding parts, mainly to the automotive and commercial vehicle industry. Ronnie's responsibility was for the own products of cars' interior parts, such as car mats, paper bins, cup holders, etc. For the last 26 years, Ronnie has been working for the Swedish privately owned company BG Seating and in roles with product management, marketing, and sales management within driving seating, 24-hour and office seating. Currently, Ronnie holds the position as Commercial Director for BG Seating Division. We do encourage you to ask plenty of questions at any point during the webinar. Please do type your questions into the Q&A box you will find at the bottom of your screen. At the end of the presentation, we will present your questions and answer as many as possible. It is an absolute pleasure to have Ronnie with us today, and I would like to warmly welcome him now to take control and begin the session.
Thank you very much, Martin. And it's a pleasure for us to be host today. And as this topic will be talking about is the driver seating in the environment of railway seating. I will use PowerPoint as a presentation tool and going through different topics. So we will start shortly. And Martin already gave you a little bit background of my role here. Now we have it. Martin already gave you a little bit presentation on myself. I am Ronnie Nilsson, correct. I started at BG in 1995 and been in various roles as already mentioned. What I can say is that my first project for railway was the metro in Stockholm of the project C20. So and after that I've been in many different projects, but that was my start in the railway sector in the mid of 90s. Anyhow, a short agenda, so to speak. I will give you a short presentation of our company, our group. Also then coming into the driver seats and the topic around fire safety and seat comfort, also in ergonomics and how to adopt to different cabin environments, and also how it can be done in a smart and flexible way to keep the cost down, etc. BG Group, and BG was founded in 1934 by Bro Göte Persson, and Bro Göte, that's the name. The name BG comes from the two first letters in Bro Göte's name, BG. The company started in sales of cars and service of cars, and already in 1949, the first seats with individual adjustable adjustments was launched to the market. So we've been in seating with adjustable seating for individual use since 1949. Today, the company is still entirely owned by the family Persson, and it's now under the third generation of leadership. The company is divided in three divisions, the seating, components, and vehicle division. We are around 550 employees, a little bit plus, I think, today. Yearly turnover of around 1.3 million euros. We are active in and have operations in 7 different countries. Head office in Oskarshamn, Sweden, southeast, where we have both the seating manufacturing, but also sheet metal companies and sales of cars, etc. In Denmark, also manufacturing of seats. In Lithuania is also manufacturing of cat and sew. Sales and service in the UK, same in the Netherlands and Germany, and sales office in France. The divisions, the vehicle division, I mentioned that the company started with car sales, and we still do have that activity. So we are selling and servicing Scania trucks and buses in our region, as well as Volkswagen and Skoda cars. So that division is a bit separated from the industrial part of the group. Component and seating division are more dedicated to the, let's say, automotive and machinery sector. Component division, there we have 2 sheet metal companies, one with higher lots, bigger volumes in tool bounded production, mainly towards the automotive industry and the white industry, but also parts and components to the seating division. Same with the other sheet metal company, laser cutting and press bending, roller forming, manual and robot welding. Also supplier to the seating division, but also to other customers within machineries and the automotive industry. We have an industrial paint shop, and also the cut and sew, as I mentioned, that we do have in Lithuania. The seating division, using another slide to present that a little bit deeper. The seating division, we develop and manufacture driver seats for commercial vehicles and machineries. We have passenger seats for light commercial vehicles, office chairs and saddle chairs and support chairs for offices and workplaces. So more detail, driver seats. As I mentioned earlier, we've been manufacturing driver seats since 1949. Actually started earlier, but from 1949 it was with individual adjustments. So the seats are the range is divided in different seat series. So here is some of them mentioned. The 3000 series, 87, 54, 9000, 7000, etc. Mainly focusing on trucks, heavy trucks, buses, both city buses and intercity buses, railway, more or less all kind of railway, material handling such as forklifters, container handlers, reach trackers, and reach trucks, also port handling and cranes, off-road machineries within construction, forestry and mining, maritime, mainly into rescue boats and military boats and boats with high speed and where you need suspension and stable and robust products. Also part is sold into defense and military sector. The driver seats are developed and manufactured in Oskarshamn in Sweden. Our passenger seats for light commercial vehicles, these are sold and manufactured under the brand or the name, the product name Johnny. We are not only manufacturing the seat itself, also the floor system and the track and the attachment systems and also do the full vehicle approvals. So we are holding the majority of the light commercial vehicles in Europe. And these are used as seats in ambulances, police vehicles, also in different kind of vans for transportation of disabled people, or school buses, school children, or whatever it's used for. These products are developed and manufactured in our factory in Denmark. Office chairs. We have three categories, main categories: 24-hour chairs that are, let's say, more or less a base from our driver seats, adopted with rocker and equipment for office chairs and office use, so to speak. Traditional office chairs in various product names and in various types, but also support and saddle chairs that are used in let's say by dentists or hairdressers. Could also be used as an alternative chair for alternating your workday from a traditional chair to a support chair in different kind of work postures. Another part that is also included in our product range is sound absorbers. A little bit different from the seating industry, but although into the office and workplace is something that is needed. These can be in different types, different shapes, and could be customized according to customer wishes. Hanging function, or mounted in the ceiling, or on the wall, also portable, and could be easy to use in dividing offices and as a divider between office desks, so to speak. So that concludes a little bit of our product range and also our company, so to speak. For more information, you can easily find on our homepage. Bege.com is the group, and seatingbege.com is the seating division. So coming into the today topic with driver seats for railway, and today theme with safety and protection in respect of fire. So as mentioned before, we do make seats for on-road and off-road, and also material handling, etc., and also into railway. And there is a difference between the norms and standardizations in railway and the other sectors. So for railway, we need to adopt and change and modify and use different kind of materials to achieve these standards and test levels. So some of the norms, there are many more, but here are just some that are unique for the railway industry. And we will mainly looking into the EN 45545, which is the fire standard. Earlier we had a lot of national standards and also different interpretations, and now we can use the uniformed EN 45545 and in all countries, mainly in Europe, but this norm is also quite adopted in other parts of the world. So in the 45545-2, we as seat manufacturers, and especially driver seats, we look into the sector F2, which is seats in staff areas within category R19, and that leads us to the procedure of R19 with the test levels where we have the hazard level 1, 2, and 3. That gives us the figures we need to be below those energy figures in our test results. So that is what we have as a guideline and to approve, so to speak. So how to solve this? We use existing seat platforms, the structure itself and the basic design. Together with different protected material that are either specifically made for railway or non-burnable material, so to speak, we can use this and or change to non-burnable material. With this, we can achieve high quality seating with very high standard and achieve ergonomics according to the wishes and needs, so to speak, for the specific and individual application and cabin. And of course, fulfilling the norms within the railway industry. So, with the use of, here is an example, one of our seat models. As mentioned, we have several models, but here is one, the 31 series. This example is an on-road seat with, as you see, with a 3-point belt made for buses or trucks. By changing and modifying the materials, for example, the foams, the seat cushion and backrest cushion, we can we change these to a specific formula. Fabric, special treated with our case, we use them with a Serpro treated material. Blocking with a fire blocker between the surface and between the fabric and the foam. We can block by a fire blanket. Plastic covers could either be changed to plastic material that are resistant or non-burnable, or with lower burnable rates than allowed. Or changed to steel parts or steel covers. The finger protection normally made in PE or rubber or other soft material, but we use in this application material from e-leather. And if there is washable parts on the fabrics, or the complete fabric should be in, or upholstery should be in a washable or more clean, we use e-leather as material. So with that, we can achieve a same seat. As you can see, it looks the same, same frame, and also even though this shows with without seat belts and the handles, the controls are on the right side on this picture, but you can pick or choose these ones in controls on the left side or right side or in the front or whatever you need, so to speak. By this method, we can fulfill the EN 45 hazard level 3. And also it's certified according to the TSI Lock and Pass certification. So, and this is of course not done by itself. It needs a lot of tests and evaluation and find the right suppliers and partners to make this. So identifying and checking up the different materials and replace by, as mentioned before, by alternative materials that are fire-proven or non-burnable. This has to be tested by a free independent test institute, and according to specific test methods, and then we receive a certificate or approval, and each individual combination and each part has to be tested. So it's not only one; it's many of tests has to be done. In the end, we receive certification documents for from TSI Lock and Pass. So it's from the on-road, off-road seating, so to speak. These processes has to be done to achieve a railway seat. And with this method, so to speak, we can, from our product range, you saw some of the example on one of the previous images, that we have a selection of seat series. We can define a number of seats that are sellable and usable in the railway industry, and used for the right purpose, so to speak. So our 3000 series is certified and fulfilling the EN 45 545 norm and the railway and the other railway norms. Also the 9000 and the 8754 version. The 3000 is an air suspended seat series with two different base models. The 30 has pneumatic release from slides and seat inclination, seat cushion inclination. Otherwise, the 30 and 31 are more or less same structure, and has the most regular functions as you need from of course height adjustment, weight adjustment, seat angle from -4 to +12, and the seat cushion extension, backrest inclination, lumbar support, side supports, low back or high back with integrated headrest or no integrated headrest. The controls can be on left side, right side, or in the front. The 34 version is the same seat series, but it's a static seat. So it's height adjustable and has the same geometrical functions, so to speak, but no air pressure inside is needed, and therefore lumbar support are mechanically adjusted, and all functions are mechanically adjusted. But the variations of options are more or less the same. The 92 is a robust mechanical suspended product. So it's used in many where you need a little bit, let's say like this. The 92 is a product with some more years on the market, and the functions are a little bit limited compared to the 3000, but still a very good product that is easy to adjust and simple to use. The 8754 is static seat, basically, that can be mounted on top of either on a rotor lift or on an air suspension. So the 8754 is flexible seat with a lot of adjustments, and simple to maintain, and also very useful when you have a wide range of variety in persons, in length and use, so to speak. We also have a instructor seat that could be wall mounted and with or without footrest. To further adopt to different let's say cabin installations and specification and customer demands, we already talked about modularity in seat combinations, and so backrest with integrated headrest or a separate headrest is one option, of course. Armrests in various types, foldable with multi-flexible functions, sideways height adjustments, and so on. Turntables could be in with snap lock system or with foot pedal or with a handle as release functions. But in railway, it's very often used a snap lock, which means that you release it with your body weight, so to speak, by turning the seat. Floor slider to be able to use in sitting and or standing driving. You are putting the seat all the way back, then you can stand in front of the dashboard, or you can move it forward and sit on the seat as normal. Height rises to achieve the correct SRP point. We can offer a number of height rises, and if necessary, create what needed in spacers or with, in this case, height riser. Other accessories, isolators. Some tracks are not always even, so there could be movements sideways, and in those cases, an isolator gives a more comfortable ride for the driver, and this could easily be mounted in combination with the seat and the seat concept. Seat heating. We are using a system with smart wire technology and a two-step heater system. So one is the heat up level, and the other one is comfort heater level. Also air ventilation. So even though if the cabin is let's say air conditioned and so on in warm and hot summer days, and also in other hot and warm environments, there would always be some heat and moisture between the body and the seat surface. And with this system, we can ventilate and transport the humidity from the seat surface through the foam and away behind and under the seats. And this system is, you can switch it off and regulate it individually, so to speak. Air vent is always combined together with seat heating. So, for example, drying the seat, you can switch the heater on and ventilation at the same time, and dry if the surface is humid. So this is a part of the, let's say, the accessories and some examples. So within, as I mentioned, in turntables and armrests, there we do have a number of variants. So how can this look like in the reality, so to speak? And so first picture here, based on the 331 series, and the top seat is a 3100. L means controls on the left side, made for the railway, added with a turntable to be able to, turning, and that could be limited to turn in only to the left side or to right side, or both, 90 degrees, 45 degrees, or 180 degrees. So depending on cabin, and not to interfere into the cabin interior. You see there is also a height riser to achieve the correct seat height. And this model also have a floor slider to allow sitting and standing driving. You can also see this one has a e-leather shoulder part to make it easier to clean. If there will be some, let's say, some grease or dirt from the driver's hair or whatever, it can feel a little bit more comfortable when you can dry it off and clean it off before you're entering your work time. Of course, this model can be having heating and air vent, as mentioned before, integrated compressor if needed. If the vehicle does not have air supply itself, then you can have an integrated compressor. Okay, coming into another example. This is based on an 8754 with an air suspension unit underneath. This model has quite many of those options. You have the lateral damper or the isolator at the bottom. Actually 3 number of slides to be able to move the seat compared to the armrest pods, but also the fore and aft from the total dashboard, and also a way so it can be used as in standing driving. Also have a armrest pods with the controls unit inside. We are normally not delivering the electrical parts, so we are in this case, this seat is actually made for a tram, and in this case there is an external company making the controls. It's not part of our offer, so to speak. One more example. Again, based on the 8754, in this case on a rotor lift. The rotor lift is a unit that can turn either with the snap lock system or with a foot pedal, and also have a height riser function, 100 millimeter via a gas spring that can be adjusted the height to equivalent seat position. This is also mounted with a floor slider, and in this case also the armrest are special design for this customer in question. There was a special demand so they are normally armrest on this model is fitted to the seat cushion, but in this case it's fitted under the seat. So that's also a customized solution, so to speak. This specific seat is made for a metro project and is currently running in production. Another version, this is based on the 9000 series, also customized to a unique solution. This has quite many functions with both air suspension and an air regulated height riser underneath. It's also turning, and in this case there is a quick evacuation function to allow escape, so to speak. Talking about the escape, the reason for using snap lock in turntables and rotor lifts is for the escape function, so to speak. So that was some of examples of installations, and so just some pictures how it can look like. Here are some installations with with the 3,000 seats to the low left and a 9,000 in the center, and to the right there is 8754. And as you know, the cabin sizes are a big variation. If we talk about refurbishment, there can be very, very narrow measurements that has to be considered. And in new build, there is these UEC standards that gives a little bit more space to work with. But in existing rolling stock, it could be very, very tough to find a good working place for the drivers. So that's sometimes a big challenge. So summary, a standardization of the norms gives us good advantages in development and also in cost efficiency, meaning that we can use the same structures and have these test documents, so to speak, and they are applicable in variations of projects and in different countries and in different OEMers, so to speak. Earlier, this was a tricky thing to sometimes it was for XY, and some was a little bit lower, some was higher, and so on. So that's a good thing for us. But to keep this flexibility and be able to let's say adopt and listen and fulfill the wishes from the operators and drivers, we need a flexibility, and that we can do with the customization and the modularity of our system. And as you saw, the variation of seat accessories and options gives also a possibility to make this possible. Cost optimization, we need to use this, but it's to be able to have a competitive pricing on the market. We need to use the seat structure that are made in a relatively bigger volume, so to speak, because in the railway, it's, even though there are big projects with a lot of investments and so on, it's normally it's only 2 seats per rail vehicle, 1 in each end, and so even though if it's a big project, it's maybe just 50, 60 or maybe 100 seats spread out over a number of years, and compared to the trucks and bus and off-road, it's a relatively limited number of seats. So using the standard structures and standard frames and so on, and modify them to the railway standards, we can have a product selection of seats that can be offered in a good manner, so to speak. So that was actually my presentation for today. So I hope this has given you some more information and knowledge about the world that we are living in, and what we can contribute to the railway fire safety, so to speak. So thank you very much.
Ronnie, many thanks for that. That was excellent. I've got some questions to start with. So the first question for you is it possible to buy BG seats for railway in own fabric?
Yes, it is. Although the fabric has to, first of all, it has to be a fire approved fabric, so to speak. And when that is done, so to speak, we all need to make a new test in our combination with the foam and the fire blanket, and eventually other materials, so to speak. So we cannot take which one, so to speak. It has to be a specific material, and then we have to do one or two more tests to make it possible. So it is possible, but needs test approvals.
Thank you very much. Second part to this question then, which is similar to the first. Can the seats be designed according to customer preferences?
Yes, more or less. As I mentioned, we have these, so to speak, and we can, by using different type of slide rails and floor sliders and turntables and so on, we can manage the most. We are also flexible in our design, so we can also do adaptations in brackets and adapters and so on. In some cases, it's also possible to do minor changes on bigger components and structures and so on, but it's always related to the volume and the time of the project.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. Okay, I've got a question here from David in Queensland, Australia. Hello, David, how are you? And the question is, in Queensland, Australia, we have EN 45545-2, HL2 requirement for these seats. What HL2 does the rest of the world normally use for these seats?
Yeah, as I mentioned, there are these three categories: hazard level 1, 2, and 3, and these are depending on where the train or metro or whatever are operating in. If it's a tunnel or in let's say you have a closed cabin, or how it's related, and let's say that the majority of in Europe is HL3, but in some cases also HL3, HL2. So I'm maybe if we should answer the question a little bit more in detail, maybe it's if we can.
Well, Ronnie, David just rewrote what HL. Sorry, not HL2.
Well, once again, what's HL?
David just rewrote what HL. Sorry, not HL2.
HL3 or HL1.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure if I got it really, but the HL3 is the highest, so to speak, and that's yeah, the 50 mare, and yeah, we need to be below, and that's normally used in both the way we have tunnels and even for metro and so on. So it's in the we are always aiming for the HL3, which is the highest.
Yeah, David just replied, got it, thank you very much. So you've answered perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Another question for you, Ronnie. Our driver union have often asked for a seat that can fit both tall persons as well as a short person, like myself. Which quick and simple adjustments, is that something that BG offers for railway installations?
Yeah, all of our seats have adjustments, so to be able to change and be let's say adopted to each individual. But the 8754, as we showed on the pictures, has a unique design with both. Of course, you can adjust the seat cushion 80 millimeter fore and aft. But also the backrest can be adjusted up and down 120 millimeters, and that's unique for a seat on this market, and that makes it possible to have for the very small person let's say, so you will have the lumbar support and the side support coming perfectly to your back. But also, if there is a person, let's say 195 or even 2 meters, with the extended cushions to each end, gives a great seat posture. And this is operated by a simple handlers that you can use, whenever you need, so to speak. So yes, the 8754 gives a great option for this. The other one are also good, but I would say this is the perfect seat for that need when you have that type of variations.
Thank you, Ronnie. Another question here from David again, and the question is, do you use a waterproof seat cushion fabric that is EN 45545-2 HL2 compliant, in brackets R21 regime, as a foam fabric interliner composite? If so, what is the fabric material?
When you speak about waterproof, it's if it's water, let's say, spoiled, direct, and so on. When we say to be able to wash it and clean it, so to speak, we use the, as I mentioned, e-leather, which is a specific e-leather are manufactured in different types, and we have to use this one for specifically for railway. I can, let's say, the combination of e-leather and the foam and the fire blanket are not totally waterproof as such. So, but if we talk about cleaning it with fluid and so on, that's okay. But if we talk about spoiling complete water, I know I wouldn't say that's completely waterproof.
Thank you very much. I know you've mentioned this in a previous slide, but I think this person might have missed it. So I'll quickly ask it. Are the seats compliant with EN 45-54-5? Did you get that?
EN 45-5 is the final. And then you mentioned?
No, the question was, are the seats compliant with EN 455-45? Which they are.
Yeah, 45-5-45.
Yeah, I know you showed the slide, but I think somebody missed that slide. So
okay, sorry.
I just asked it, but yes, they are perfectly. Yes. Okay, thank you. Next question for you: are the seats suitable for locomotive, trams, and metro, as well as trains?
Yes, but there are, as I mentioned in the last slides, there is a big variation in cabins, and here you so a metro and a regional train or a long haulage train is not always exactly the same, because you cannot often the metros are more narrow and so on. Also in locomotives, then depending on how it looks like, of course, but someone needs, when you have these what do you call them, ranchia trains, ranchia locomotives, want to have the foldable backrest to be able to push them under the dashboard and so on. That's also possible that we supply. And so I would say yes to the question, and also no. So you cannot use the same seat and seat for every installation. There has to be variations in equipments around it, so to speak.
Okay, many thanks. And David's back with one more question. And sorry, one more question, Ronnie. The question is, what material, do you use for small plastic components, i.e. handles? Are they fire compliant, EN 45545-2, HL2 in brackets R24 regime?
There is within the fire test method, there is when the components is lower of a certain gram, then it's not needed to be tested, so to speak. And some of the components are excluded from the test approval, so to speak. If they are need to be tested, then I'm not an expert in the chemistry or in the material itself, so to speak. So I'm not able to answer the question what kind of material that are in these handles, so to speak. So that maybe if we have the question, we can send you a reply later on. But I'm as I said, I'm not the expert in that.
Okay, Ronnie. David, you can see Ronnie's phone number and email address there. Please do feel free to drop him an email. And I know Ronnie will come back to you straight away with any questions you have in regards to your questions as well. So please do drop him a question. Next question for you, Ronnie, and it's a two-parter. First part is, where do I find my nearest dealer or contact person in regard to driver seat for railway? And are these seats available globally?
Yeah, the easiest way to find the nearest dealer is to go into our web page, and then you can click on dealer, and there you find a map with globally different dealers, and also on the selection of contacts you can click on driver seats, and then you have all the individual persons within Bega Seating Division that will take care of your questions and answer the questions what you need, so to speak. So seatingbega.com and dealers, then you find the correct address and where to find your dealer. So in Australia, I heard David was from Sydney. We have UES in Sydney, who is our dealer there.
Thank you, Ronnie. And David just replied, so I think you'll be getting an email from David as well.
Okay.
Another question from me. The dreaded word, COVID. How has it been for BG in the last year and a half with dealing with COVID and moving forward? I guess it's been absolutely fine.
Yes, and of course we were affected as all others, and as mentioned, we are active in 7 different countries, so we have had different variety of restrictions, and to the production itself. In the beginning, it was a little bit uncertain, and some of our customers stopped production because of lack of components and so on. But production-wise, through the year, it was okay, so to speak. So our last fiscal year was relatively good in terms of turnover and outcome. What we see now is the effect that has, let's say, come afterwards of increasing of raw material prices, transportation costs, and the lack of containers, and you all heard about this electrical components that the automotive industry is missing, and that these components maybe not affect BG itself, but our customers, and that makes it difficult for us. It's the COVID itself. That was a challenge, but we have overcome it fairly well, I must say.
Ronnie, many thank you. Okay, final question for you, Ronnie. Question is, do you offer service and maintenance on BG driver seats for railway?
Yes, we do. That's actually one of our business areas, and specifically in our facility in the Netherlands, we have a dedicated service organization built up for maintenance of railway seats. So we can either do it, the majority of let's say the repair and service and maintenance are shipped in to our workplace, and could be in different contract forms that we regularly bring in seats and repair and serve them and send them back. Could also be on individual contracts, so to speak. Also in Denmark and the UK, and also in Sweden, we have service for railway seating. But let's say the bigger part is made in the Netherlands.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. Just before I wrap up, I just want to read out what somebody has written. Great presentation. Thank you, BG. So many thanks, Ronnie. That was superb.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would like to say a big thank you to Ronnie from BG for an excellent presentation and Q&A session today. Today's webinar will be on demand for you to rewatch as well. Thank you to everybody for attending. We really do appreciate your time. Ronnie, thanks again. That was absolutely superb. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for listening, and I wish you all a great day.
Thank you, Ronnie. Ladies and gentlemen, we do look forward to seeing you all at our next WeRail webinar. Ronnie, have a lovely week and a lovely weekend. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Thank you.